I'm Neil Holdsworth. I'm the head of the data and information in this building we're in, which is called the International Council for the Exploration of the Sea, ICES. I started my studies are in environmental sciences. So what I studied was all sorts of things. It's kind of a range of subjects. You do aquatic ecology, environmental chemistry, economics, a whole range of things, and then you focus in on a few topics. A big part of that is working with computers and software, because of course if you're doing GIS to understand what's going on, mapping, or if you're doing statistical modelling, you work a hell of a lot with software. And so of course from a youngish age I got into the computers and the software part of it. So for me a typical workday is not very typical, which you probably hear a lot. There's two things that can happen. I'm either in the office or I'm in a project meeting travelling around. So if I'm in the office, then what I do is I speak to the teams here. We have software developers and data scientists. So these are people that have either come through the marine sciences, so they're oceanographers, they're biologists, they're biogeographers, but then we also have pure software developers, people that have come through computer sciences, that understand artificial intelligence and machine learning and these kind of skills. And then we have meetings with scientific experts. We often start with gigabytes and gigabytes of data, and then the idea is to distill that down into one simple or a couple of simple messages, and that can be just a couple of tables that say this is the biggest problem here and this is the second biggest problem, or it can be a map that just shows you like fishing activity, so you can say this is where you have the most problems with people fishing too much. Or if I'm not in the office, then I'm out traveling, which is a fair bit of this work. I mean, that's one of the nice things about this kind of job. I'm going to places like the European Commission in Brussels, or to our clients, the partners such as the Regional Sea Conventions. Up in the Baltic we have HELCOM, and in the North Sea we have OSPAR. Yeah, I think everyone is affected by it. You know, most people go on holiday and they go to the coast, so it's important that you have a good marine ecosystem. So it's important that we look after the sea, and everyone has responsibility in that. You know, from the person that drops a wrapper on the beach that gets blown out to sea and ends up in the bottom of the sea there forever. You have to think about, you know, some of the things that we can do to make sure that we look after it. And of course, if you want to kind of get into a profession which leads you into it, then you can really kind of have an effect. I think I said it earlier already, one of the best things about this job is solving problems. And these can be really small problems that you can solve in an hour or a day. Sometimes, often more than not, they take a lot longer. And they can take a year, or they can take up to 3 or 4 years to solve, because you have to bring in a lot of different people. But that also brings the next best thing about this job is the people you work with. The great thing about working in this environment is that a lot of people are really engaged in what they do. They're really interested in it. It's maybe different from banking. So I would highly recommend coming into marine sciences.